If you'd like online business explained to you in a way that you can actually understand, go to latenightim.com/explain. It's completely free and I made it just for you. Now, how about an episode? Episode 174.
Late Night Internet Marketing.
This week on the Late Night Internet Marketing Podcast, I have a super galactic special treat for you. Leslie Samuel is in the house. He's going to talk to you about blogging and the way that's changed over the last decade, how he got to where he is, and how you can get to where you want to be. All this and more on the Late Night Internet Marketing Podcast.
The Late Night Internet Marketing Podcast.
You've been working for somebody else, but you want a business to run yourself. You want to know how to start and where to begin. Can you get out your comfort zone, my friend? Yes, you can do it right when it's late at night. At the end of the day, your dreams burning inside. So keep it up and you will find that you're building your business one night at a time.
And now, broadcasting late at night from a little studio in the big state of Texas, your host, Mark Mason.
Hey, how is everyone? I am Mark Mason, and I'm coming to you from the little studio in Dallas. I hope you are having an absolutely fantastically magical time with your internet business this week. Right now, I am having a magical time at FlynnCon out in San Diego. In fact, next week on this podcast, I'm going to tell you all about it, all my major takeaways, every good thing that went down out there in San Diego. But right now, I'm bringing onto the show my good friend, Leslie Samuel from BecomeAblogger.com. Now, the backstory on Leslie is actually in the episode, but what I want to tell you about Leslie is he is truly an amazing man. He's a prince of a man. He's got the biggest smile and even a bigger heart, and he is an incredibly successful blogger. Now, you may be thinking, hey, Mark, blogging is like last decade. We don't really even talk about blogging anymore. Blogging is still a huge, big deal. Leslie's going to tell you about that in this episode and how he got to where he is today. And that's really important because a lot of the fundamentals of blogging go to content creation. And content creation is the core of content marketing. Most of the strategies that we talk about on the Late Night Internet Marketing Podcast revolve around content marketing, including my upcoming course called Late Night Affiliate, which is finally going to be released in September. So, without further ado, here we go. It's Leslie Samuel in the house.
Hey, don't touch that dial. It's time for another fantastic guest on the Late Night Internet Marketing Podcast.
Leslie Samuel, I am so excited to have you on the Late Night Internet Marketing Podcast. How are you, man?
Man, I am amazing. I couldn't be better because I am on the line talking to you, my man.
Well, you know, it's not that uncommon, right? We talk every Wednesday and sometimes more than that because of our mastermind relationship. But we've been doing the do that we do together for years now. And I wonder if you've got the 45-second version of your amazing story coming from a guy with a day job to a blogger that creates a day job back to a blogger. I mean, can you roll that whole magical experience up into?
Oh, we could make it happen.
Yeah, let's hear it, man. Tell me the Leslie Samuel origin story.
All right, so this is how it goes. I was a science and math teacher at a high school, always wanted to be a university professor, but didn't have a PhD. So what I did was started a blog where I would be teaching the kind of stuff that I'm passionate about, the kind of stuff that I would be teaching if I were teaching at a university. And for me, that was stuff like neuroscience and anatomy and physiology and those kinds of topics. Those things excited me. Started the blog, Next thing you know, fast forward a year or two later, that blog landed me a job as a university professor in a doctoral program teaching anatomy and neuroscience and pathophysiology, all of that good stuff. Really loved my job, enjoyed it, besides the fact that it was taking all of my time and I was never seeing my family. So eventually decided to leave that job to be a full-time blogger. And today that is what I do. I blog, I teach people about blogging and all about online marketing and all of that stuff. That is what I am all about right now.
So based on your story, what you're telling me, I heard some major big things is one thing is when you took off to do the things that you did online, it was because you were following your passion. That's the first thing that I heard. And then what I heard was this allowed you to essentially land what at the time was your dream job, teaching people. So you followed your passion and good things that you never imagined happened. Is that right?
It's kind of right. There's one part I didn't mention, and that was before I started the biology blog, I actually had a blog about freebie websites.
I remember you were the freebie trader, right?
I was the freebie guy and teaching people how to make money with freebies. And what I eventually realized was along the lines of what you're saying right now. I'm not passionate about freebies. I don't care about this whole freebie stuff, but I was getting more excited about the blogging stuff. And I was passionate about biology. So I started talking more about blogging. And then I said, you know what? I'm going to try this with a topic that really gets me going. And that's when the biology blog started. And yes, that was about my passion. And yes, that resulted in all kinds of doors opening.
So I know that you see this all the time with your students, but I want you to break down for me, what do you see based on the success that you see from your students? Tell me about the difference between someone who does just whatever because they need to make money or they want to make money or they're looking for a change in lifestyle versus someone who's looking for that change of lifestyle and they're doing it by working on something they really care about. Can you break that down for me? What does that look like from a success perspective of a guy who teaches people how to do this stuff?
You know, what's interesting, I was talking with a client last week, and I realized that my most successful clients are the ones that blog about the things that they're already doing. They're already excited about it. I've had clients that homeschool their kids, and what they ended up doing is just kind of sharing what they were doing in their homeschool and why they were excited about it. And that kind of evolved in something amazing. I have one client that has 10 kids, and when you have 10 kids, you have to feed them. And she started, getting really into how do I be creative in feeding that many kids. And that was what her blog was about. And it kind of went from there. And what I've noticed is the ones that it's kind of like they built this blog around not just what they're already doing, but what they're already doing in combination with what they're excited and what they're passionate about. Because what happens is, whether they have a blog or not, they're doing this stuff. So it's kind of like an extension of who they are, as opposed to, man, I heard that these are the 5 popular niches and I should go into one of these. Yeah, I'm not passionate about it, but I hear you can make money. The ones that go after the thing that they're already engrossed with and when already passionate about, those are the ones that actually stick through all of the stuff that you have to deal with when you're building an online business. And they're the ones that actually end up having success. And that, as I look through all of my successful clients, the really successful ones, they have that in common.
So let me ask you then, why do you think that is? I mean, there's the obvious thing that people get, they're in it, they're part of their own target audience, and so they understand what people want. But is there more to it than that, do you think, than just it's because they know the market?
I think it's more than that, definitely. I'll take my example. When I was doing the biology stuff, right? I was excited about biology. And because I was excited about biology, I would teach it in a certain way. You know, you go to many other biology videos and it's like, all right, so we're going to share this complicated research with you. And yes, so this is why such and such works. But for me, because I mean, maybe I'm a little extreme where this is concerned, but I think it illustrates the point. When you come to one of my biology videos, you start off by hearing this guy saying, well, hello and welcome to another episode of Interactive Biology TV where we're making biology fun. And I'm literally excited about what I'm teaching because it is something that I'm passionate about. And there's something about the way you deal with something that excites you that actually excites the people that are consuming the content. And I think there's something in that makes you a bit different from everybody else or from the people that are just doing this because, man, they hear that you can make money with it. So I think that's part of it. There's the knowledge of your niche, the knowledge of your industry and all that stuff. There's the expertise that goes along with it because I was so excited about, you know, these complicated topics like neuroscience and that kind of stuff. I really dug deep into the topic. And that really makes a difference. So it's the knowing your audience, it's the knowing your industry, it's the passion and how that comes across to the other people. And it's the expertise that comes along with loving something so much that you are investing so much time in learning how to do it well and how to understand it well, and then being able to share that with others.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. And I'm curious if you find this as well. When I talk to people that are like that are passionate about what they're trying to do for reasons that are intrinsic like that, they are also more likely to stick it out through the inevitable obstacles and setbacks that come with running a business.
Absolutely, because it's not easy to build an online business. If it were easy, everybody would be doing it.
You heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah,
it is not
it's
easy.
Crazy.
Yeah.
It is not easy. And so if this were something, if I were still doing freebie, well, no, I would not still be doing freebie trading because it's not something that excites me. But because the stuff that I'm talking about, it's stuff that motivates me. You know, I get pumped up when I'm having a conversation about it. I keep going.
Yeah, you seem pumped up right now. Are you pumped up right now?
Right? Just a little bit. I'm trying to restrain myself a little bit. But yeah, it keeps you going because
go ahead. Sorry.
It's not just about I have to build this business, but it's about I get to share what excites me. And that to me is significant.
Okay, so I fully buy everything that you just said, but I know that you have students that come to you because the thing that they really know a lot, that they do all the time, that they're an expert in is something that they dislike. They're a CPA and they hate that, and they're trapped in a cubicle all day looking at spreadsheets and their mind is numb and they're looking to do something else. And the last thing they want to do is the thing that they know. What do you say to those people who want to build a blog?
Yeah. So I first of all, I don't think you can lump them all in one pile, right? Because what I know that you have, people that are in a job for a very long time, you would often find that they were probably at some point really into it. But when they got into it and then they started dealing with the bureaucracy and all the things that come along with working for the company that they work with, it just kind of wore on them. And they kind of, this is not something that I enjoy. But in some of those cases, it's not that you don't enjoy the thing, it's that you don't enjoy all the other things that come along with it. So in some cases, if you realize that, you know what, when I really think about what the field that I got into, it really used to excite me for these reasons A, B, C. And maybe if I could do it without all of the other stuff that comes along with that specific job that I have, maybe I could be excited about that. And if that's the case, sure, try doing it and seeing how it goes for you. In other cases, it's, you got a job that you really hate. Yeah, you're good at it, but you really hate it. I wouldn't recommend for you to go in that direction. I would recommend, it's not all about just what you're passionate about. That's just one part of it. But if you could find something that you are passionate about, that other people are passionate about as well, and they have problems that need solving, and you could provide that solution, then man, go in a different direction.
Yeah. So it turns out that most of these accountants have hobbies and those sorts of things. Is that what you're talking about?
Exactly.
And I don't mean
if
to
you
pick
think
on
about it-
accountants. It just seems to me like that's the most dreadful thing that you could ever possibly do.
It sounds like you mean to pick on an accountant.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Maybe I do. Sorry to all you accountant listeners. I love you, and I pay you money to do the books for the Late
There you
Night
go.
Internet Marketing Podcast. But I am so inept at accounting that it gives me a prejudice against it.
I feel your pain, man. I feel your pain. Yeah, so it may be, okay, so I'm teaching blogging, right? But my expertise in terms of, what I went to school for is biology, neurobiology, those kinds of things. And now I'm doing something completely different. It may be that, hey, maybe you can explore that thing that you are very excited about. That's kind of like that side hobby that gets you so pumped.
Yeah. And I guess the other thing about that, speaking of neurobiology, is when you have wins in this area that you care about, you're getting those dopamine hits because it's something you care about and you feel good about it. And I think that's a lot of the leverage that comes out of working on something that you care about is neurological. You think that's probably true?
Oh, absolutely. And you know what adds to it even more? When you start putting some stuff out there and things start to, maybe you start getting a few views and people visiting your blog or they're watching your videos or whatever, the content that you're creating, and then you start getting the positive feedback. When that starts happening, it like re-energizes you even more because now people are finding value in it. And you're putting value out in the world that's helping other people. And and there's something significant that comes along with that. I used to, whenever I got one of those emails, I'd put it into, a folder in my inbox. And anytime I'm like discouraged, I'd go to that folder and check out those emails. And then it's kind of like, all right, we got to do this, man. This is good stuff. It's helping people. And I'm going to stick with it.
So you talk about putting value out there. How important is creating value as part of these kind of online businesses? And do you have counter examples of businesses that you've seen be successful, but in your judgment, they really weren't creating value for people?
Okay, so how important is it? I think it's extremely important. Business is an exchange of value. You give me money, and I give you something in return that you find valuable. It may be valuable because it's solving a problem. It may be valuable because it's entertaining you, whatever the case might be. There's an exchange in value. And if you're a person of integrity, if someone is giving you money, you want to give them value, something of value in exchange for that. So I personally think it's extremely important. Do I see examples of people not doing that? Unfortunately, I do, especially in the online marketing space. I've been a part of things where you've paid a significant amount of money, and what you get in return is it just does not live up to the value that you invested into this program. And it's unfortunate that happens. I mean, there's so many things online. There are unfortunately too many scams online. And in some circles that can give a bad name to certain niches. But that's why I think it's important to be a person of integrity and to create stuff. If you're selling something, that it is giving the value that they are anticipating when they are parting with their hard-earned cash. I think that's super important.
So you're Leslie Samuel from becomeablogger.com. Is it too late to become a blogger? I know blogging itself has changed, but is it too late to start a blog, to go to, download WordPress and create a Hello World post? Is that all done and over, or is there still money to be made and value to be created in the blogging space? And what is the blogging space anyway?
Yeah, so those are great questions. Is it still possible to build a successful blog in 2019 and beyond and build a business around that? Absolutely. When I think about blogging, I think about blogging as creating content and putting it out there into the world, growing an audience, and especially if you're doing it as a business, building a business around that content that you are creating. It is definitely still possible. It has evolved. You know, what blogging was back in the day is not what blogging is today. I mean, back in the day when there are way fewer blogs, you could almost create anything and people would come. But that's no longer the case. You have to be, it's becoming more and more important to focus on a very specific niche. It's becoming more and more important to provide, you know, a lot of value to this niche. It's becoming more important to build a community around the content that you're creating and engage with people on, you know, where they are on these different platforms, whether it's the social platforms, whether it's, you know, on YouTube or whatever the case might be. It's, you know, what I see of blogging today is that it's becoming more multidimensional. All right. So when you come to my blog, you're not actually just going to see, you know, written content. No, you're going to see an audio podcast. You're going to see me doing videos. You're going to see articles that go along with my content. You're going to see a lot of stuff. You may then connect with me on social media. You may join my email list, and we're going to engage in multiple ways. It's at the point where it's not just about, hey, I'm going to type this post and put it on the internet. No. It is, I am putting value out there to grow an audience, build a community, and then monetize that community that I'm building.
Yeah, you know, I was thinking about this the other day because of some discussions that you and I had previously. And when the term blogging was created, the written word was essentially all there was. It's YouTube existed, but no one was using it. And you know, usually you didn't have the bandwidth. You certainly, the good equipment and tools that you need to create videos just weren't there. Podcasting was something that weirdos did in their basement, and that wasn't really a thing, right? I mean, there were podcasts, but no one understood the value of it. It hadn't exploded yet. Like it had now.
And the barrier to entry was so high for those different types of media.
Enormous. I talked to Cliff Ravenscraft about this. He was hand editing his RSS feeds just to get his podcast on the air, you know, so that, I mean, it just wasn't viable. Social media wasn't a thing. I mean, this is in the era of, you know, and prior to Facebook, this was in the MySpace era.
Yeah.
I mean, no one was really using social media. So to say that blogging has evolved to encompass all these things, I think is exactly right. And that word really has become synonymous with content creation. And I think that what you said is exactly right. And I know that in my case, almost all of that content ends up back on my website, which I call a blog, but is really a central location for all the content that I'm creating.
Yeah, you know, as I think about it, what's essentially happening is blogging is becoming more human. You know, back in the days, it was just me it's like I'm writing to a journal, right? And hopefully people will see it, people will read it, people will like it, and they might email it to a friend, right? It's like you're passing around these notes. And eventually you started being able to see people. You started being able to listen to people, and you started being able to have a conversation. And then you started being able to connect with people and join their community and interact not just with the creator of the content, but other members of their community. Blogging is essentially, and this content marketing thing, it's essentially becoming more like our real engagements in life. Now, it's not a substitute in no way, but I embrace the changes that are happening because it's making it more possible for us to connect with people at a deeper way. In a deeper way. I don't know how many times I've been at a conference and someone would come up to me or they'd hear my voice and they'd recognize me from from my podcast, and they'd come up to me and we'd have a conversation, and they'd ask me about my kids, and they'd ask me about certain things that I'm doing in real life. it's becoming more of like this online version of what we do offline. And that excites me.
Yeah, it's very exciting, especially that voice recognition part for podcasters.
It really is.
That happened to me at church one time. I spoke at church, and then after the service, they didn't want to talk to me about what I had said in church. They wanted to talk to me about the fact that they recognized my voice. They wanted to talk about the podcast. Really weird. So
that is so cool.
So I know you're teaching all of these things right now. Can you tell us a little bit about what you're working on right now and how people can get more of this supernatural force that is Leslie Samuel?
Supernatural force. Man, yeah. So my main home on the web is becomeablogger.com. That's where I create all my content up. My podcast is there. I post videos as well and all that good stuff. And especially for those people that are just, man, I heard about this blogging thing. I want to get started, but I need some guidance. I have this free training that I created called From Idea to Blog. And they can check that out at FromIdeaToBlog.com. That's the best way to kind of get in and be a part of my community and learn from the content that I create.
That sounds absolutely awesome. I'm going to encourage everyone to do that. And there's a lot of cool resources there. For example, one of the resources you just created was this whole big tutorial around some email autoresponders. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, so the email marketing service that I currently use is Drip. And I absolutely fell in love with it because of all of the amazing things that you are able to do. So what I decided to do is help other people that, want to know about how to use Drip by creating a bunch of, I think it's like 20-something tutorials that I created on my Drip Resource Center. And they can find that by going to becomeablogger.com and go to the resources, and they'll see my Drip Resource Center, and they can get access to all of that information for free. Yeah, it's such a powerful service that I think a number of people that sign up for it have no idea what all they can do. So I wanted to make it easy for people to kind of transition into it.
So the reason I bring that up is because I think it's one of the best examples I've seen recently of the magic recipe, because
yep.
You're involved in this community. You see this amazing thing, but you see that people are confused about it, or they don't know about it, or they need help with it. So you create this enormous, and people listening, you have to go over there to see this thing, this enormous, completely free resource that really outstrips the help resources that are available from the company itself. It's just this amazing array of directly useful, helpful content that people can use. And in some cases, that results in more traffic to your blog or commissions from drip sales, but that's not really what it's about at all. Really, what you lead with is helping people, and then the money part sort of takes care of itself.
That's exactly it. I put it out there. And, people are finding it on YouTube. Because they're asking certain questions on YouTube, and then they see that I have all these others, and they're like, thank you so much. I was struggling to try to figure out how to do this, and now I understand. That to me is what it's all about. It's about doing that, of course, while building your business and being smart about it. And of course, you use your affiliate links and so on. But it's the idea of serving first and building around the service that you're providing.
Leslie Samuel, you could not have said it better. Let's leave it there. Hit me with that URL where people can get more of this greatness.
Yep, from ideatoblog.com. And thanks for having me on, bro.
Dude, it was absolutely amazing, and I'll talk to you soon.
Okay, that wraps it up for this episode of the Late Night Internet Marketing Podcast. I hope you totally enjoyed your time with Leslie Samuel. Again, if you want more information about Leslie, check him out over at becomeablogger.com. And if you're interested in that course that's coming out in September from me, the Late Night Affiliate Course, after many years finally coming out, you can find that at latenightaffiliate.com. There's a waiting list set up there, and that will be released sometime in September. All right, fantastic. I will talk to you next week when I get back from FlynnCon. And until then, let's get something done on that internet business, people. All right, ciao.
You can do it right when it's it's late at night.
You've been listening to the Late Night Internet Marketing Podcast.
Be sure to visit latenightpodcast.com today to leave feedback for Mark. Download special bonus content, access the show notes, and more. See you there.
Until then, go and make some great progress on your internet business. One night at a time.
One night at a time.
So, just a little random off topic thing. Tell me one amazing fact from pathophysiology that I probably don't know.
Oh, man, you're killing me. Okay, so pathophysiology, one amazing fact. Man, I got nothing, man.
You got nothing?
I got nothing.
How about tell me what pathophysiology is? Can we start with that?
Pathophysiology is basically studying the physiology of disease. So what basically when something is going wrong in your body, why is it the way that it's going? Why is it doing what it's doing? That's basically what it is.
Late night internet marketing.
Hey, it's Mark again. I wanted to tell you one more time about this absolutely free resource that I have for helping people who are trying to get the big picture for internet marketing, actually get started and understand what all their choices are. If that's not you, there's no more content. You can skip to the end. But if you're someone who came to this podcast because you're searching for how to get started online and you just can't cut through all the noise, I get it. That was me. In 2007, when I was trying to get started, there were so many people throwing offers at me that I really couldn't even understand what all the different business models were. I couldn't understand how money moved around on the internet, and I couldn't really get a grip on what direction I wanted to go in so I could figure out how to move forward. I've created a free video resource for you just for that purpose at latenightim.com/explain. In several short videos, I just explained to you what internet marketing is all about and what online business is all about and the different options that you have for starting an online business. There's nothing to buy there. You just sign up for access and you get the videos just like that. So if that's interesting to you, or if you know someone who's in a same situation, send them that link, latenightim.com/explain. And let me know what you think. I'd love to hear what people are thinking that are in the exact same position that I was in more than a decade ago in 2007. In some ways, it seems like yesterday. And in some ways, it seems like an entire lifetime ago. Again, that's latenightim.com/explain.
Late night internet marketing.